you go. Good evening, everyone. It's DebraSue, Graphic Council 9, with Toledo to the world, DebraSue, of course. I want to welcome everybody to my platform today. For those of you who are inside Toledo, I have a quite a treat for you today. One of our hometown girls has come home for just a day or two to take care of some business. And for those of you outside the 4604 area, happy to have you join me. Happy to have my Instagram people and my YouTube people and the Roku people join us as well. Today, we are welcoming a business extraordinaire, entrepreneur, superwoman is what I refer to her as. This is a very, very busy young lady, and extremely proud to have you on the show today. And I'm hoping I can say the name right because I actually introduced you as one of your brands, I think, but you're actually TaShara B, correct?
TaShara B, that is me.
TaShara B, welcome to my platform, young lady. I'm so happy to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, thank you. Okay, so before we get started into some of the specifics of what you do, Superwoman, I want to I want to talk a little bit about who you are because you do so many things and you have several different brands. I think we should talk about who exactly TaShara B is and what led you to do what you do today.
Well, TaShara B, a woman who has discovered she has many gifts. I believe that's who I am. Born and raised in Toledo, Ohio, just really fell in love with the level of leadership skills that I began to develop as I began to transition into a corporate woman. As many women experience in corporate America, that always doesn't work when you do have those gifts and become the Me Too girl. And just begin to acquire a lot of goals that just was really to me unrealistic $1 million goals. And at that moment I realized if they trust me to do that, I can do it for myself. And I challenged myself to do that, which transitioned me into this entrepreneur I am today, really identifying the things I love, what I want to do, create the life and the space for me and other women, and just kind of began to build around that. And that's how a lot of my organizations became that. But TaShara B overall is still discovering who I am, still discovering what God has for me, but allowing those visions to take me to those places to become just who He needs me to be.
hmm And you know what? You are very, very, you sound like a corporate person, even though you're a very young person and you have a lot on your plate. That just tells me that you are advanced in your intellect, number one, and then you recognize what your blessing is, number two, and you kind of walk in that blessing and you seem to discover something new around the corner, and it seems like your eyes wide open. You don't close your eyes to what God has put in front of you, right?
That's exactly it. Actually, some people think I'm much younger than I am, but I am 42 years old now, a grown woman, I should say. Where many may say you're still young, but because of the experience, the wiser people around me, so many great mentors and leadership, it gave me a lot of opportunity to develop. And I'm grateful for those who saw those gifts, who put me in those positions to learn the skill sets I have and challenge me, especially where I came from. They were like, you're very sharp skilled where I'm from now in the South. And they kind of helped me balance that to become like the people's champ. Like everyone would do what you request, but are they happy? And they began to show me how to really truly develop not only myself but people around me to love what they do and view them as an asset, not as someone who worked for me, but we worked together. And it just changed my whole trajectory on how I did business, how I build relationships. But still, sometimes I do have to wear that leadership hat and stay in that leadership role to continue to remain the CEO or foundation. But it's definitely things that I've just endured and learned about, learning how to deal with people, different personalities, developing and training of others, including myself, emotional intelligence, just my IQ level, just to kind of understand how to gain those relationships and build off of that. And I think it's just continue to take me very far when you start to identify with those things and then begin to pour into others, it began to become reciprocated. And it really allowed you to
Mhm.
identify where you really can have some areas of opportunity. So I'm still growing every day. I still have friends who remind me that I'm still human, thank God. But a lot of that came from just being around great people who saw my gifts, who challenged me to be great.
You may be you're young in age, but you are certainly a very mature person with regard to your business. Sense you have a tremendous business sense that most people your age can't even fathom. To be honest with you, that's actually very admirable. I think that I know your parents are very proud of you because you're the kind of daughter that most parents want. So, but let me ask
Oh.
you this, because you did start out in Toledo and you started some of your businesses here in Toledo. What is it that motivated you to leave Toledo, or because you left but you still come back? And that's the important part, is that you still come back, you still give back to your community. But what inspired you? Was it so that you could grow your business or to grow yourself personally? Or what inspired you to go ahead and make that move? Because that's a heck of a long way from home.
Yeah, when I decided, um, oh, I've been in with my husband 22 years. And so when he asked me to become his wife, I at that time said, I need a husband with a degree, and he has to be a businessman. And so my husband went and got 2 degrees and became just that. I laugh now because I didn't realize then that he was very determined to be the person that I envisioned, and worked very hard, but more so began to discover his own gifts. I
Mhm.
was in college, and when I was in the operating room, I began to research after I graduated areas where what city and states I make the most money. Well, my husband, with his degrees, he has 2 degrees in accounting and HR and business management. I knew it needed to be somewhere where we can be in a city where they were thriving. I'm in
Mhm.
healthcare. When at the time I was in the operating room doing peripheral vascular, ENT, and orthopedics procedures, so I knew I could work at any hospital. And I
Mhm.
had a few different places on the radar. And I spoke to a few colleagues and mentors, and Charlotte made the most sense. It was Charlotte, it was Texas, it was Denver. And most of my family said Texas too slow, Denver too cold, it's too far. So the Carolinas, everyone said yes to. And my great aunt Mickey, she definitely let me know that because she lived here after coming back from Germany. And so my grandfather, I told him about what I wanted to do, and he said, your aunt lives there. And we came to visit for our anniversary date, and we fell in love with it. And from that day forth, we moved forward. But coming back was not a part of the plan. I never said I would come back, but God had other plans for me. As I began to shift out of my corporate position, I started to see very clearly Toledo, Ohio. I did not know what that was about at the time, but I wasn't happy in my corporate position because I was in the industry dominated by men, and a lot came with that. And so, with being a top performer and all the things I did, God continued to still show me Toledo. And I said, I'm going to retire from corporate America and do what I want to do. And I did just that. And I said, I want to be a CPR instructor. And my husband laughed, like, a CPR instructor. I said, yeah, God keeps showing me a CPR instructor. And I laughed. I'm like, I have a 6-figure job. I have a corporate job card. I have a corporate credit card. How does that work? And I didn't know that it would change my entire life. I just needed to believe in the vision. And I said, I got to get to Toledo. God is telling me to get to Toledo. I don't know what this is about, but we're going to have to fast. We're going to have to pray. We're going to have to go to marriage counseling. We're going to have to do whatever to make this work, because my grandfather always told me, I don't care who you marry, never lose yourself in nobody. You had goals before you met them. And my
That's
husband
right.
knew that about me. I was very goal driven, and he pushed me to get to
Mhm.
Toledo. And Toledo came with a lot. Um, and so as I continue to come back and forth, I've began to like see the transition so very quickly of people I've known all my life, and begin to transition to people who didn't know me. And what I was doing was foreign to them. So when I got here, many wasn't receptive of me. I was like almost foreign. Like, why am I here? Don't you live there? And it actually was a little discouraging because I wasn't I wasn't received in my own hometown. No one was receiving me in my hometown, and it pushed me to kind of just really focus on making sure I left my mark. And that's what God sent me here for. I knew I was on assignment, and I just began to follow the path, and his vision just began to show me from every angle of what I needed to do here. And that's kind of the start of TaShara in Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah, and your journey literally has taken you from, because we have very similar backgrounds, but your journey brought you from a medical background and just kind of shifted you around a little bit to where you're most needed. And the fact, number one, kudos to your husband for, playing ball,
Right.
and supporting you the way that he does. This is a beautiful thing to see, two partners who are supportive of one another, because you also encouraged him to go to school. But back to my thought, you brought with you a ton of experience and a ton of caring that you have for people, which is obvious because you were in the medical, field. And now, you're teaching another life-saving work in addition to everything else that you do. You have no state boundaries. You have no city boundaries for what you're trying to do. I think that's an admirable thing about you, is that, you're teaching individuals of all ages how they can perhaps save another life.
Yeah, it definitely grew into something amazing. That was the start of many things. Right before that, I had my boutique online. And
Mm-hmm.
when I began to see the, COVID and things, I pivot. So when I began to pivot, that's how Body Me by She came. We needed a sister company. I was goal driven, but I knew from being from a business corporate standpoint how to pivot and how to incorporate things to continue to drive and add on conversion, make sure we hit our goals every month, but also continue to bring value to our organization. And so I just began to utilize the blueprint I knew. And because of so many multifaceted things I loved, I stepped and repeat in many areas, and it worked. And that's when it clicked that the American way of what corporate showed me was the blueprint. And
Mm-hmm.
if I continue this, it will take me far. And many, I've
Mm-hmm.
never really shared this, but they don't know that that's exactly what they're seeing right now. What they're seeing is a step and repeat of a system and a process that I was trained and developed under multimillionaires to learn. And I
Mm-hmm.
continue to just develop my skill set, but more so take those leap of faith and gain more confidence to step in rooms that many would never step into, make those calls, and just diversify myself. And I
Mm-hmm.
only wanted to do the things I love, especially if I was going to be an entrepreneur. So with
Right.
that, as you know, the healthcare component came with it, but I didn't know CPR is going to come with suicide prevention, crisis prevention,
Mm-hmm.
mental health first aid, having my own lab, and then shifting back to healthcare where home care agency plays a factor. We work with veterans, seniors in the Carolinas. There's so many other facets many don't even see or know about, opposed to what I
Mm-hmm.
put out for the community. And
Yeah.
when it came back to what I
Mm-hmm.
love helping out. So every event you can think of, from Susan G. Komen, breast cancer walks, lupus walks, Alzheimer's, dementia, I was involved. I knew if I
Mm-hmm.
had a bone in my body, a brain, eyes, I wanted to be a part of that organization because I knew how important these things were. But I didn't know that I would begin to research these things and it became a part of me where I was that
Mm-hmm.
passionate and cared enough. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how the humanitarian piece came out, to really advocate for those who may not have a voice, because many feel I have a strong voice. Selling things was great. Being in corporate America was great, but it didn't fulfill me. And now pushing to save lives, have been on the mission to not only help myself, but help others from, beauty, wellness, healthcare, youth. It just grew, and I knew that as long as I stick to those components to be able to provide women with beautiful clothes, a boutique around wellness and lifestyle, have all these different companies that the things the world need, I couldn't fail. And here we are
Yeah.
now today.
Yeah. And my takeaway from that is that you were not afraid to open up your eyes and see all the different avenues that opened up to you. And I think that's how many people miss out on growing their businesses, because they're, they're focused on what's in front of them, and you have all these different other avenues that, a road is usually a two-way street. Do we want to stay on a one-way street, or do we accept the oncoming traffic as well? And so you saw those opportunities and you accepted those. Now let me ask you this. First of all, because you do have a lot of business entities, are you housed under one roof there in Charlotte, or are you kind of all over Charlotte, or how's that work for you?
So, for instance, with Safety Nest, we're licensed in all 50 states. Safety Nest is necessary emergency services and training, where we have our CPR component, our mobile lab, so we can do DNA testing. We can do a variety of different things that many people need in the community from that standpoint at any 50 states. But because of what CPR stands for, and we're licensed with our license training center with the American Red Cross, ASHI, and other components that we've added, I wanted to make sure that I could step and repeat and franchise my company out. And so with everything I do, I try to make sure that I can do it wherever I'm from or wherever I'm at, and then be able to create jobs and opportunities for those. And I'll be able to kind of do what I saw in corporate, build out regions, districts, and then become a household name of my own. But TaShara is who I am. And many are starting to get to know me from these type of opportunities. But my organizations are the things I believe in. Safety Nest is around CPR and healthcare. We do have our home care piece of that as well. And then I have Confidence in the Cup, which many know me in the city for coming back to do business brunch networking events with my chef, celebrity Michael Chef Gaston, and those components, bringing all the key players and heavy hitters in Toledo to be on that platform and on that stage. I know my gifts, and I didn't take the time, I would say, to let Toledo really get to know me like this. I just began to just do the things that God was showing me. And now I feel like I'm in a space now where I've poured into everyone's cup. I've been able to overflow in other areas, but now it's time to overflow in mine. So what people are seeing now is TaShara B on stages, speaking, stepping out of her shell, Raw Magazine, all the things that I love versus my companies, to really put the blueprint on who I am and leave my mark opposed to the organizations and company I've established.
I love that. I love that. So let me ask you, for the young woman, or the new entrepreneur, or the person that's in that mid area, what would you say is the biggest pitfall that you've had to overcome to get to where you are now?
I would say the biggest pitfall is not knowing what the end result would be. Like, sometimes when you're moving fast and you don't know what the outcome is, you just have to trust God through the process. Many don't know, like, if it wasn't from my family, my sisters, my brothers staying at their houses, using their cars, this is a full family forum. There's no way I could be who I am without those individuals who believe in me, who trust me, my friends. Like, what do you need? The people who help me in the community, like Taylor Cadillac, people like Mr. House a Day, 107.3, all the key players in the community who trust and believe in my vision. They are my village. There's no way I could be who I am without them. There's been a lot of sleepless nights. I just encourage anyone to know that if you choose to take this leap of faith, you don't know what comes with it. It is not for the weak. I had to fast. I had to pray. I had to work on my spiritual growth. I had to identify with who I am. I had to let people go. I had to set boundaries. I had to have non-negotiables. It was so much that came with me, even from being a woman with being a wife. There's so many components of balance with that. And once you find your balance, it comes with peace. It comes with a different glow, a different joy you feel on the inside. And so as long as I knew my foundation at home was okay, I could become that woman. And so I say to those who may have those pitfalls, that I don't think it's a pitfall. I think it's a bump on the road that many have to go through to make sure that, just like any other road with a ditch or a bump, you might get a flat, you might get a nail, but we fix it and we keep going until we get to our destination. So on this journey, I've had flats. I've had 4 flats. I've had transmissions go out. But I also had Maseratis on the way. I've also had jet planes on the way. I've also been placed in rooms that no dollar amount could ever give me. I've had experience that I could never even imagine God would do for me, meeting people and having mentors from MBA all the way down to my locals. It's been life changing for me. So I just encourage people just to stay on the path and trust God in the process, because you're not in control. You have to trust the process of what you ask for.
And you have to be consistent. And I think that's the thing with you. You're very consistent in your determination. You're such a motivational person too. I would imagine that, the people that you talk to, you just inspire, because you're such an inspiring person. I mean, I'm sitting here myself and I'm inspired by you. Let me ask you something, because you do so much. What do you do for yourself when it comes time to take a break? When you need some TaShara be quiet time, what do you do?
I sleep. There's this thing I've just was telling someone about this. I listened to Magic Johnson tell this story, and they were asking, after you worked so hard and you used to win all those championship games, what would you do? And most people say go to Disney, right? And he was like, I go to the Bahamas and I sleep for about 2 weeks, and it resonated on so many levels. I was like, I'm not the only one. It was like an aha moment to know that when people see me out here, I'm being used as a vessel. God is using me in so many ways to where I am physically drained. My husband says, you sleep for days. And I do. I recoup, I relax, I release, I decompress. It's all self-care for me. I'm a woman who just loves to be pampered, to be treated like a queen. I like my feet rubbed. I love back massages. I love the things that consist of self-care and leaving me stress-free. So that's the lifestyle I try to endure. I have a garden. I love gardening. Many don't know that. I read a lot of books. I love music. It feeds my soul. I love food. I used to cook a lot, but I'm the oldest out of 7, so I still love that. But I find myself, nature keeps me grounded now. I actually, the moment I leave here, the first thing I say is, where's the sand? Where's the water? And I didn't understand it then, but I didn't know it was grounding me. I didn't know elevating my toes in the earth rim and letting those waves. And I know many may think I'm sound weird or like a nerd, but if people who understand the elevation, the level and dimension in life that I am in, then they'll truly understand what I'm saying about the balance of coming with alignment and being able to elevate in life. And you do require that peace. And I didn't know that God, what he created with the world, from the sky to the air we breathe, to the sand and the ocean waves, were really so impactful to my life. And I say that to tell people, those who work hard and who are stressing, take time off. It refuels you. I do not stress. I do not overwork myself anymore. I work until I feel I can, and I set those boundaries to make sure I remain whole.
Yeah, setting boundaries is very, very important, especially for high level people like you. And like I'm the same way. I feel so grounded when when I have my quiet time and I'm in nature and I'm near water is the thing for me. The water and the ripples. Under the stars, under the sun, whatever it is, that's what calms me, and you're able to get a peaceful, restful type of relaxation that just doesn't come any other kind of way. So kudos to you for that.
I get it. I hear now. Like, I just wanted to share this because I want to say shout out to my dad, because he when he go to the beach, he would never leave. Like, he'll sleep on the balcony or be out in the water. And I now understand why. So there's things about me I pick up on about what's instilled in my bloodline. So I know I get that from my dad. It's a different level of peace. And we used to laugh like, Dad want to stay out there on the beach all day, and he want to sleep on the balcony, hear the ocean waves. And I find myself sleeping on the balcony when we're at resorts or want to be on the beach till 4 a.m. I'm like, oh my God. So I get it now. I really truly do. It made me just a little emotional just thinking about it.
Let's I want to move along here. We're at 6:30 hour. I want to talk to you about the event you have coming up in Toledo. this coming weekend. Let's talk about that so folks can be aware of what's happening. A very important event that's happening.
Absolutely. The Community CPR 419 initiative is happening at Bowser High School this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. I will be closing the registration at 10 p.m. tonight. We are at capacity. I just left Chief Danny Martinez or WTOL. I've been on with Alexis Means, just spreading awareness. We're going to have Mercy Health Partners there giving out wellness checks for your BP, your vitals. We have mammogram bus coming. The Toledo Glass City Wranglers are coming. There will be 8 players. You guys can get autographs and get signed. You can meet Mr. Buckets. We have all the Toledo firefighters and police. And I'm just ecstatic about the city workers who are coming out to support us. And we created the community marketplace. Community CPR is about community first. So I know Black Friday is coming. If people are on TV, you see those deals. So I'm come from corporate. I follow suit. I am getting our locals ready. We've created the marketplace. We have 48 vendors coming out with their products, from anything from wellness all the way to candles, anything around pushing to save lives. We have Panera Bread involved. Zeus will be there to help provide all the food for our volunteers and such. And Mr. Johnson Produce Market right there off of Pulaski and Nebraska is supporting us. And he's provided a lot of fresh fruits and healthy alternatives. This is going to be amazing. All the workshops are from home ownership with our Greater Realtor Association. We're going to have tax preparation, get you guys ready for New Year's. We're going to be talking about new home ownership, all these great programs in the city. I know you guys heard you got $1 million coming your way, and they have 0 down, no closing costs. We need you to have a home for Christmas for you and your family. We're going to be there with Care Source, talking about Medicaid and Medicaid enrollment, all the new plans, Plan B, Medicaid Advantage, Medicare, what we need to do for our families and how we can ensure they have what they need, life insurance, health insurance, all of these components around pushing to save lives. There'll be one side of the room with all the workshops, another side of the room with all our vendors, and CPR in another space. And we have something to top it off. 10:45 a.m. Make sure you are there. Mystery music with 44 kids will be performing and getting CPR. So we're going to have fun. There's going to be PS419 with all these workshops. It's just going to be amazing. I'm just grateful the community has come together. This was free for everybody. And we have the Lucas County foster care system involved. We have NOMNI involved, mental health facilities. We brought all the components so no one can say they didn't have the help they needed. We know it's Suicide Prevention Month for the next 6 months. We brought all the resources to the community. So as you can see my shirt, this is from last year. We went from about 10 vendors to 50, and now I'm already at 100 for next year. We're already building for next year. So I'm just grateful to come home and see everybody work together. And it doesn't matter if you're black, white, skinny, short, fat, or tall. It's like we are fans of one another. We don't see nothing but the mission, and that is pushing to save lives.
That's right. That's right. And listen, folks, she has everything there that you could possibly need. Honestly, the vendors and the workshops, everything will be there. But in order for you to take advantage of that, you got to get registered. You have to get registered, and that's the most important thing. Where can they go to register, TaShara?
You can go to Community CPR 419 Initiative on Facebook. Click on events. You'll see it for Saturday. The QRC code is there. Please scan it by tonight. You must register to get to your 2-year CPR certificate for adult, child, and infant and AED through American Heart Association. We have no open day registration to keep up with the count, and we're right just about at 200. I think I may have 23 spots left. Please register. It is for adults, all family members. If you have kids over the age of 7, and they meet the weight requirement and can push those mannequins, they can get a CPR card. So if you're 50 years old, if you are 10 years old, if you are 30 years old, please make sure your family know what to do if something happens to you.
Absolutely. Very important skill to have to know. Very important, life-saving thing. And I'm so very, very happy that you're doing it, and you're going to hopefully continue to do it. It sounds like you're ready for next year too. So
yeah. We've recognized this in many states. We have 12 cities on the radar from the Carolinas all the way back to Ohio. So this is going to be nationwide. God has shown me this. I will touch as many states as he allowed me to.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm so very proud of you. And I wish you nothing but success in your career and all of the events that you have coming up, in addition to all your multiple businesses. You have blessings, blessings, blessings coming your way. And it's so evident. I mean, look at your successes. You're doing great. You've been blessed in your business life and your personal life, you know, and that says a lot. I see that from, you know, way over here, and I see the blessings that, and the hard work, you know, let's face it, you put it in now. You know, so
Thank
you
you.
should reap those rewards. Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank
Well, while we have you here, we have about 3 minutes left. Would you like to give any special thank yous or shout outs? You've done some along the way here. You mentioned a lot of
Yeah.
prominent city names, as well as your family and your hubby. Is there anybody else you'd like to shout out and give some
All the
credit
local
to?
yes, all the local radio stations. We couldn't do it without all your help, all the media, people like yourself, all the every last person who played a part. I have to say thank you to all of my board members, my VP Terry Crosby, our founder Chief Bird, my mother who's our secretary Marisha Raymond with Level Up. She's our treasurer. We have a solid team. All of our board advisors, you know who you are. People who would just continue to help us push this. American Heart Association, Taylor Automotive, all of our platinum sponsors, Mercy Health, Miss Jessica, everybody, Toledo. This is happening because of you. And of course, my family. I love y'all to death. You are my why. I know I'm the oldest out of seven. I hope I'm making y'all proud. And my uncle Chucky always say, don't take his bragging rights away. So for people like him and my grandfather, I hope I'm making you very proud, but this is for you guys. I don't have kids. These are my babies. And just to see everybody come together. Toledo, we can do so much more together. If I never worked with you or worked with you in the past, please call me. I want to work with you. We're showing you what we can do, and it's enough for everybody. So let's work together and keep this movement going. I want you in the rooms and I want to be in yours. And that's all I
I'm so
have.
happy. I'm so happy that you said that. I'm so happy to have had you on my show. And I have another young lady who's said a beautiful interview. She is also hey Latoya, happy to have you here. She's also doing her thing. She might be a good idea for the two of you to make a connection, because she works in herbal healing. You know, she is a she's a person to get to know. Trust me, I'm gonna make that connection between the two of you after the show, okay? Because I think as much
I
as you
love it.
travel, I think that may be a place you guys could really do well together as far as educating the community, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's do it. Anybody who we can align with to help us all excel, I'm all off. I'm all for that.
Awesome. Okay. Well, Mr. Shara B, thank you for being in my hot seat. Thank you for coming and talking to the rest of the world about what you do. And you traveled all the way back here to do what you do, and you're doing a wonderful thing for other people, and I just see many blessings in the
But
future for you. Thank you again. And so everyone else, listen, make sure you follow this young lady. Go to her page on Facebook. You may see it as Alicia in the door, but she's actually TaShara B. So make sure you
I'm
go and
gonna
you
change
follow her.
2025 to back to TaShara B, so you'll be able to find me.
Okay, awesome. Awesome thing to know. All right, everybody, listen, make sure you join me again next Thursday for another edition of Twitter Today with DebraSue. Looking forward to having all of you. Get in line with me. I'm looking forward to the next person's going to be in my hot seat. But for now, we are going to tune out and wish you all a happy and peaceful night from Toledo, Ohio. Thank you all. Bye-bye.